Welcome to Tech Brothers with Amir. In this video, we are going to learn how to copy millions of files by using a copy activity with the rerun mechanism. So that's very important actually. So think about that a person or a company has maybe millions of files sitting in one blob storage and they would like to move or copy those to another blob storage. Or they have all these files sitting in ADLS2 and they would like to move to the ADLS2 folder or between these guys. Maybe they are sitting on the blob storage and want to copy to the ADLS2. So this can be back and forth or whatever the different types of storage they have. So that doesn't really matter as long as you can use the copy activity to copy those files. This is going to be valid scenario. So I have actually gone through this pain. One of friend, I noticed that he was going through this pain. He was copying millions of files, and the copy activity failed after 20 hours, sometimes after 24 hours, and it failed. It copied few of them. Maybe it copied 500,000 and then failed. And the retry processes start over everything from the very first file again. So that's not really great idea. And I have suggested him to use a tumbling trigger, but that's also like where you have very less login. You don't have enough information which failed and which passed and all that. So I wanted to create a solution that can help you and show you the logs as well. So first of all, I am creating a calendar. Okay, so in this case, this code is not written by me. This code has come from my sqltips.com. So if you look for this, I will put in this it's called calendar table example. Okay, so I copied this code. You can use this code, it's free, and here you can tell the starting date. So think about that. If you are in blob storage, you have file maybe sitting from 2010. In that case you're gonna starting from 2010. Okay, so you will be creating this calendar and then you will be telling for how many years. So if you have data till maybe 2020 starting from 2010 and going all the way to the 2021, right? So you will be adding probably another 11 years here to make to all the way to the calendar data. But in my case, I just wanted to do for only 1 year. Okay, so that's simple. Or I maybe start with the 2020 and just do for a couple of years. So that's all I did. Now I'm gonna take this data and show you what happened. So I will take this entire data. You need a SQL Server table in Azure, right? So we can save this information there. So I have already created the Azure SQL database, and here is my database, and I'm connected to the database on Azure SQL. I'm going to paste this guy there, and what it is going to do, see text and images, copy to the clip log. Okay, fine. And it is going to create a table called the dbo.Calendar. Okay, so we can execute simply this script here, and it created 2 years of data, and we can take a look. So let me see if I say select asterisk from dbo.Calendar. Now I have this data, and you can see it has day, it has date, the day, the day suffix, and tons of other information. In my case, I only need this date. Okay, starting from the very day January 1st and all that, right? So on top of that, I have written some queries to extract what I need. So here, if you guys see that I am creating another table, and in this table I am calling this table called LoadLog. Okay, so I'm creating ID column, that's identity, and then I have start date, and then I have end date, and then I have load status. So I will be using this table to create those window of dates between start date and end date, and also I will be setting the status on each of the date once the data is finished, copied from one for specific date. So here what I'm doing, I'm gonna copy this one, and I will take you guys there, and we will run this query there. Okay, so you will see that what happened. I'm gonna just hit enter a couple of times and paste right there. So if I run this query, as of now this is coming from calendar, right? So I am doing a TheDate as a start date, and then I'm adding a day to it because I need to create a range. So if in your case you want to create a range between 5 days or something, you can always add that. But in my case, I'm just doing for 1 day range. So my copy activity will run multiple times. Each time it will load or copy the data for only 1 day. and then go for next loop and next loop and next loop. But think about that, I have millions of files sitting there, and each day maybe I have 100,000 files or whatever, so maybe even 20,000. So it's going to copy those 20,000, then go for the next one and next one. You can run parallel as well, so you can create maybe 2 copy activities and use the same logic and select few dates in one and select few dates in another one. So I'm going to leave all that to you. So in this case, if I run this query only for 21st, this is the data. So see, January 1st ending January 2nd, January 2nd ending January 3rd. So I have added 1 to it to create that. Now first of all, I'm going to create this table. It's called dbo.LoadLog, and then I'm inserting to the data to the dbo.LoadLog. So I'm only inserting for 2021st because I don't need the data for 2 years, because if I have the files which are only available for one, actually they are not for even 2 days, Okay, so now what will happen, next part, you can take a look on this table. I'm just going to copy and show you what exactly it will look. Once you run the query, it will have ID, it will have start date, it will have end date, and my load status date is null as of now. Every time I run the data and move the data for 1 day, I will update the load status to completed. To do that, what I have figured out, I should be using a store procedure. So this is a store procedure I have written, and I'm gonna just paste it right here. So my store procedure looks like this, dbo.LoadStatus store procedure. It will accept ID, and then it will start and update dbo.LoadLog, set the status to completed, where ID is equal to @ID. Okay, what happened here? Set incorrect in syntax near. What exactly we're talking about? Let me run it again. Why it's not creating store procedure? Oh, maybe store procedure is already there. Yeah, so I created actually this store procedure, so that's why it is a given you error. I mean, totally like it should say as there is already store procedure, so I can do alter here just to show you guys. Okay, see, that should be fine, because I already have the store procedure right there. Okay, so it accepts input and all that. So view definition, let me see, create procedure db.and integer as began @ID. So you can see right there, if I create it, it will say it does exist. So I'm gonna alter it. Okay, so I will put this definition anyways in the right there. So I'm gonna copy this guy and paste it right there, so then we will not have any errors here. Okay, and create. So now what we do here, we are all set with our objects, and I can select the data for everything. Now in my case, first of all, I can select the data for entire year, but I don't want to do that. Ask me why. Because if I go right here and go all the way there at the end, and I will say select asterisk from this table, this is gonna return me 365 days. And let me show you my files. I have only files sitting for 1 day, so it is November 10. That's all I have. So I don't have files for other days and all that, and I don't want to loop through all of just for nothing. Okay, so I am going to use specific days. So in that way, what I did, I just figured this out. If I will run this query and select the data between let's say, see, it's just even starting, I don't need to even start it. I can start from probably 312. Okay, so but in your case, then you are going to select the data what you need. So starting from your days and ending whatever the days you would like to copy. Okay, in my case right now, see, I'm starting from November 8. Okay, and ending up on November 14. Even I don't have the data, but I want to show you the loop, how the loop is going to work. Okay, as of now you can see the load data is a blank. So let's copy this guy, and we are going to create our pipeline. So we are in Azure Data Factory right there. Go to the pipeline, create a new pipeline, and here first of all we will be using lookup. So lookup is going to get us the list of the data or all the records of what we can use in our next transformations. Go to setting here, and I'm going to create a new linked service. This linked service is going to be Azure SQL database, And what's going to happen now, we have to select the new right there, select subscription, select our server name, and select the database name is TechBrothers database here, and authentication. So in my case, username TB user, password is my very important password that I don't want to share with you. So it's LNK Azure. Okay, so that's our linked service. And I'm going to test this and create a. Now our linked service is created, and what we will do here, we don't have to select any table here, but these two tables are available. Remember, we don't even need the calendar anymore because our goal was to create a load log from calendar. So I have already created, but anyways, just let it be and hit OK. Now we go to the query here, and in the query we are going to paste our query. So remember, I am just doing the data between 2012 ID and 2017. The reason I want to select only between November 8 and November 14. That's all. In your case, you're gonna select the dates whatever you want. You might have 5 years of data sitting there, and you would like to use it. So any modified date, that's where the data is going to be extracted. So this date is very important. So if your data is sitting there from 2012, not modified, you're gonna be starting from 2012, and whatever. So depend upon this date, get the min date here and start from there. Now this is our lookup is ready. Now next task is going to be for each loop. So in the lookup, remember that first row only, just uncheck that because we would like to get more rows, and our data is coming more rows. So let's get the for each loop here. Now we connect our lookup with the for each, and here I'm gonna make some settings. So I'm gonna go to setting, I'm gonna run in sequential. You can run in parallel, but I would love to run in a sequential. So I would not have any problem with the copy because sometimes we have throttling or some other issues, So it's okay to run in sequential. Go add dynamic contents, lookup output data value. Okay. So now what's going to happen? I can go and run it right now. Inside that we can maybe let me put a wait activity, show you what exactly our lookup is getting and what we are gonna get inside the for each. Let me debug. It's executing right now, and in the lookup we are gonna see some information. See, that's the query it is going to execute, and it's gonna give us some records. In this case, it is returning only 4 or 5 records, so actually 6 records total, and you can see that it returned ID 12, start date 8, and the ending date 09, and load status is null. I don't actually have to select load status, but anyways, let's use select asterisk. That's why it's coming. I'm not going to use this column anywhere in the for each. Next is starting from 09 and 010, and that's how the dates are built. Fine. Now for each loop 6 items are given to it, and then the wait activity ran 6 times inside. That was just for the test purpose. I'm removing the wait activity. Now the actual work start. I'm going to use the copy activity here because remember, I would love to copy the data between 2 blob storages, and here my goal is depending upon the modified data, so I can select only the file which exists between the days. So I'm going to go back here, go to source, and I'm going to select Azure blob storage. I could have created multiple blob storage, but doesn't really matter. In my case, I'm going to copy binary because I don't care about column headers and all that. It's going to be straightforward copy files. So select that, create a new link service, and I'm going to give a very nice name to it. I'm going to call this one LNK STG. That means storage. Now select the subscription, select your account. That's my storage account. I'm going to hit test connection and make it successful. Now all good, and here is my input container. Okay, these are the files there. I'm not selecting any of them. Hit OK, and then hit OK again. Now what we are going to do here, we are going to say wildcard file path. Why? Because I would love to select all the files, and here I'm providing a asterisk. Now anything under the input container, and have any whatever comes, so asterisk means everything. That's where the very important part starts. Start time. So filter by last modified. So if you go back here, each file has modified date. So depending on that modified date, I'm going to choose the files. So I'm going to hit add dynamic contents here, go to the for each, and here I will say start date. Where this start date is coming from? Remember that lookup that we have the list of the columns. So if you guys remember, here is that start date coming. That's the one. Okay, the same way we have end date, and the same way we have id here. Okay, these are coming from our lookup, so nothing to confuse about. Now we are going to hit OK here. Now we are going to go to the end date. So we are defining a date time between the last modified and starting modified. So here I'm going to say for each dot end date, sorry. Now anything happen between those two dates, those files will be selected. Now that's really good, and that will give us a lot of freedom to choose what we want. So if I want to remember, if I would like to change for the 5 days and all that, I can always change the start date and end date between that and make a bigger window for my file selection. But here I'm fine for 1 day. Now I'm going to go to the sync, and there I'm going to select my blob storage, and now I will select the binary there. Now what I'm going to do here, use the same linked service. If I have a different blob storage, I would select a different linked service here, or create the linked service for that blob. In my case, I'm using the same blob storage, so I'm going to select the same linked service. But my container is different, if you remember that. So output container, that's where I would love to copy those files. Now hit OK there, and we don't have to do anything here. Now files will be copied, but how you would know that if the file has been copied or you had a problem? So in this case, what I'm going to do, I am going to say where bring a store procedure. So this is going to play a critical role in a login, and going to tell us in case our load fails and we want to restart, how we restart it. Here I'm going to go to settings and go to linked service. If you remember that I have created the LNK Azure, that's our linked service to the Azure SQL DB where our load table is. So I selected that, and now I'm going to select the store procedure. That name is the LoadStatus. Now I'm going to hit import here, and now our ID parameter appears. Look, the value is there. It is asking us to map to something. So what we are going to do, we are going to go to the add dynamic contents here, and here in the for each loop dot id, so item dot id, that's what we are pasting it there. And now we should be good. That id is coming from the lookup, the very first lookup we use here. I can give proper name to it. I can call it get me list of dates, right? So that's now you would understand what exactly is happening in this one. Let's go inside now, and the store procedure is all set. Now, as of now, if you guys see that I have not do anything in this lookup, hey, get me in my query, select start from dbo.LoadLog where id is equal to between this. So that means even my load status is successful or completed or not, it is always going to return me this. If I want to put another clause where I say only give me these values if load status is null, that means this was the data was never copied between for those dates. So I can do that, where id between this and then I can do that something like a load status is null only. Okay, so I can take, let me execute this. Now just want to show you what exactly it is going to return. In this case, it is returning all the same records, but once the file has been copied and this has been updated, next time if we rerun the process, it's not going to give us anything. So that's good. But if we would love to rerun, we can always make some changes to this query to rerun the process. So I'm going to show you. Here we are all good, and now we are going to hit a debug button. Here the output activity lookup can't be referenced since it's neither be ancestor of the current activity does not exist. The output of activity lookup cannot be referenced. Okay, I have no idea what it is talking about. So this one. So because we have renamed it, that's the problem. See, that's where you will learn something. So you see it now, it is called the get me list of dates, and we are gonna say it's fine. But it's rather have to have good information instead of have all those lookup 1 2 3. So you rather have a nice naming convention and everything. So let's see what is happening here. Our lookup has come in completed successfully. It selected that data for this query, and now we are going to see the data. So see, it is returning me all those records starting from the November 8 and going all the way to the 14. So that's great. And now let's hit refresh, and what we see, the 6 records or item has been provided to the for each. Now the very first copy is working, and you see that it is running for between November 8 and 9. None of the file has been copied. Okay, so now it is going to go to store procedure, and but still says completed. So it's going to update the value. So if I go back to my store procedure, and here if I will execute this statement, you will see completed, 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 completed. So see, it is moving through. It is updating whatever it is not able to find the files, but fine. It's saying, hey, I checked for these dates, but no file is there, but I'm completed. Now it's going to go for the next one, next one, next one. So let's go back here, and now see, every time it runs, it then copy the files. So in this case, it copied 8 files here, and then just went for a store procedure and executed the store procedure. So finally it got completed. Now you can see that I have the files. I should have the files here into the tech browsers, go to the output, and here those files should be. See right there, the files are there. So if I go back here, actually you can probably work more on it. I still see in this case no files for that date. You can probably that's what I was saying here, no files, but in some of the activities those file has been copied. See here, five files copied, and the other one has copied 8 files, 5 of this, and this one was 8. Okay, so total 13 file has been copied. All right, so you see that this is how what you can do. You can divide the window, and then just copy for specific dates depending upon the modified date of those files. Now this looks great, and a very nice way to handle this type of issues. Now if I run this statement and see what happened, all of these statement has been completed successfully. Now if somebody run the same statement, what's going to happen? It's going to not do anything. So if somebody try to debug again, what happened? The lookup is not going to return any records, and that's it. You will not see any load or copy files happening for those specific days. See right there, it is saying like how no file, no data has been returned. See right there, 0 count, and for each just completed as it is. So now if you need to extract the data for other dates, what you can do, you can simply go ahead and change your query, where load status is null. Okay, so then it will just process all those files and just complete the rest of that. Now in case you have failed for some of that, so if case this my copy activity got failed, so in that case it will never update my load status to completed, and next time when I rerun it, it will rerun the process for that date as well. Okay, so you have a lot of control to load for specific days if you want to even reload, or if it has failed automatically, then you don't have to worry about it. Just keep running wherever you are gonna say something like where load status is a null. So once you have specific dates and have this query, it is going to extract the files specifically for those dates and keep running, and wherever it is completed, it's not going to bother anymore because it has copied all those files already. So what I will do from here, I'm going to take all these scripts what I have written here, and I'm going to put in description for you. I might not put this entire script here. I will just put the link because I don't want any copyrights or anything for that. You guys can go to this link and copy your scripts and then create the table depending upon above and create this load log table and then use it in your queries. Second part, what I will do, I don't know if I need to do anything. You have everything what you need to load millions of rows and have the control of rerunning this copy activity. So I thank you very much for being here and enjoying the video. Go ahead and subscribe my channel, and I will see you guys in next video.